There are stories that start with fireworks, luxury dinners, and champagne. But not this one. This story begins in Balagan Market, under the hot Lagos sun, where the smell of roasted corn mixes with sweat, noise, and survival. Where people sell dreams for 500 Nigerian nairas and still go home smiling. And right there, lost in the crowd of shouting traders and impatient customers, stood Emeka. A young man with a small velvet box hidden inside his pocket. A box that held the cheapest engagement ring in Lagos. The market was alive as always. Madam come by am. Last price 1,200 Nigerian nairas. Oga beg move your leg, you day block customer. Change day. Change day. The sound was thunder. The air smelled of hustle. And Emeka stood still in the middle of it all, sweating through his faded white shirt. He opened his palm slightly, peeking at the little red velvet box again. 500 Nigerian nairas. That was all it cost him. He bought it from one of those jewelry boys who roam Balagan with trays of fake gold. The man had smiled at him and said, Oga no worry. Nah original fake. If your babe love you, she go still shine am. Emeka smiled too, not because it was funny, but because he wanted to believe it. At 25, Emeka had learned that Lagos doesn't give you anything easy. He worked part-time as a delivery rider, riding a borrowed bike for a logistics company in Surulere. On good days, he made 6,000 Nigerian nairas. On bad days, he made excuses. But he was a dreamer. He wanted more, not just for himself, but for her. Her name was Tommy. Tommy was 23, a fashion assistant at a small boutique in Yaba. Soft voice, kind eyes, and that type of calm that could silence chaos. She never judged him for not having much. She used to say, Emeka, love is not the size of your pocket, it's the size of your heart. And every time she said it, he would promise himself, one day, I'll make sure you never have to say that again. It was Friday evening. The sky over Lagos Island was heavy and golden, the kind that made everything glow, the danfos, the market stalls, even the tired faces of traders closing up. Emeka had saved for 2 weeks to buy this 500 Nigerian nairas ring. He had also planned the proposal, not in a fancy restaurant, not with violin music or rose petals, but in Mama Nkechi's buka, behind Tejuosho Market. It was their favorite place, where they ate jollof and fried fish every Friday, laughing about life and how Lagos was trying to break them but never would. He called her earlier that day. Babe, meet me at Mama Nkechi's by 7. I want show you something. Tommy had laughed. Mr. Surprise. I hope it's not another one of your business ideas, oh. He smiled. You go see am. By 7:15 p.m., she arrived. Tommy walked in wearing her simple green dress, hair tied up, face glowing with sweat and smiles. Emeka's heart raced. Mama Nkechi greeted them with her usual grin. Ah, lovebirds don come again. Una go chop fish today. Yes ma, they answered together laughing. They sat in their usual corner, 2 plates of jollof rice steaming between them, with the scent of pepper and smoke filling the air. The buka was full, people shouting, bottles clinking, laughter echoing, the rhythm of Lagos nights. Emeka's hand brushed against the box in his pocket. His heartbeat matched the sound of a nearby generator. He took a deep breath. Now or never. He stood up slowly, almost trembling. Tommy, he said softly. You know say, you know I no get plenty things right now. But I get you. And since I meet you, everything about my life don start to make sense. She blinked, surprised. Emeka, why you talking like this? Sit down first. No wait. He knelt down. The entire buka went quiet. Even the woman selling suyar across the street turned to look. Tommy, he continued, voice shaking. I no fit promise you Dubai trips or big house yet. But I promise you this, I go work, I go build, and I go make sure you never regret saying yes to me. Then he opened the small red box. Inside lay the tiny shiny 500 Nigerian nairas ring, so fake that the light from the bulb above made it sparkle like a diamond. Tommy gasped. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. The crowd murmured, some smiling, others whispering. A group of young guys by the door started recording on their phones, giggling. Emeka, she whispered. You bought a ring? It's not much, I know. But it's all I have. I I want you to know I'm serious. She stared at him for a long moment, and then without a word she stood up, pulled him up from his knees, and hugged him tight. The buka erupted into claps and laughter. Say yes, nah, someone shouted. She laughed through her tears and whispered into his ear. Yes, Emeka. 1,000 times yes. And the crowd cheered. Mama Nkechi banged her pot in joy. Two strangers started singing a love song off-key. Someone poured pure water on them like confetti. It was chaotic. It was messy. It was perfect. They spent the rest of the night laughing and eating fish. The ring looked tiny on her finger, but she couldn't stop staring at it. You know this thing might turn my finger green, right? She teased. Then we go call him Emerald, Emeka replied, smiling. They laughed until Mama Nkechi chased them out to close shop. Outside, the Lagos night was alive with sounds, car horns, laughter, and distant music. They walked hand in hand, hearts light, not knowing that the short video recorded by those boys in the buka would soon change everything. The next morning, Emeka's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. He thought maybe his delivery app had glitched, too many notifications. Then he saw it. A viral tweet. Broke guy proposes with 500 Nigerian nairas ring in Lagos buka, loudly crying face skull ring. Video, Emeka kneeling, Tommy crying, the crowd cheering. The comments were cruel. Imagine suffering like this for love. Tommy deserves better. Na why I no fit date broke man. This one na suya proposal. The post already had 70,000 views in just a few hours. Emeka froze. His stomach tightened. He opened WhatsApp. Messages flooded in from friends, co-workers, even strangers. Some laughed. Some mocked. Some pitied him. Then Tommy called. Her voice was quiet, trembling. Emeka, have you seen it? He sighed deeply. Yes. Don't mind them, ego pass. But she was silent. Tommy. My boss saw it, she said softly. She called me viral girlfriend of Balagan boy. She said it like an insult. He closed his eyes. He had wanted the world to see love. Now they were seeing shame. Later that evening, they sat together on a bench near Surulere Bridge, watching buses race by. The sun was setting, painting the city gold and red. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Emeka whispered. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. Maybe I embarrassed you. Tommy turned to him slowly. Her eyes were still sad, but steady. Emeka, you didn't embarrass me. You loved me the only way you could. She smiled faintly, resting her head on his shoulder. Let them talk. Let them laugh. The world forgets fast. He nodded, though his heart was heavy. He didn't know that the world wasn't about to forget. Because somewhere in Ikeja, a social media influencer had just reposted the video with the caption, "Can you marry a man who proposed with a 500 Nigerian nairas ring?" And within hours, thousands more would see it. By the next morning, their faces would be everywhere, and their simple love story would become a national joke. They say love in Lagos is like rain, sometimes heavy, sometimes soft, but it always leaves a mark. And for Emeka and Tommy, the downpour had just begun. Yesterday, they were two lovers with a dream. Today, they were the internet's favorite joke. By Monday morning, the video had crossed 500,000 views. It was everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, even on gossip blogs. Headlines screamed, "Broke delivery guy proposes with 500 Nigerian nairas ring." When poverty meets romance. True love or true madness. Emeka couldn't even open his phone in peace. Every scroll showed his face kneeling in that buka. Every laugh felt like a dagger. At work, his colleagues teased him nonstop. "Oga 500 Nigerian nairas ring, how market? Next time buy ring from ShopRite, not Balagan." He tried to smile through it, but it stung. Each comment reminded him how small he was in a city that worships money. Tommy, too, faced her own humiliation. At the boutique where she worked, customers would whisper and laugh. One woman even asked her mockingly, "Sweetheart, your ring still shining? Or it done rust?" That night, she cried quietly in her room. She loved Emeka deeply, but she couldn't lie, the ridicule hurt. A week later, Emeka showed up at Tommy's workplace to walk her home. She avoided his eyes. Tommy, he said softly, you no even want talk to me again? It's not that, Emeka, she replied, her voice low. I'm just tired. The whole city is laughing at us. He sighed, staring at the road. I never meant to make you feel shame. I just wanted to show you I'm serious. I know. She touched his hand gently. But love doesn't feed us. We can't just keep surviving on feelings. He felt a sting in his chest, not because she was wrong, but because she was right. She looked away and whispered, Promise me we'll turn this around. Promise me this won't be how our story ends. Emeka nodded slowly, determination burning behind his eyes. It won't. I swear it won't. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay on his thin mattress in his one-room apartment in Surulere, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly. The mocking laughter from his colleagues echoed in his mind. Then a thought came to him, wild, strange, but bright. Something his late mother used to say. When shame comes, cook it into success. The next morning, Emeka went to Tommy's place with an idea. Babe, what if we start something small, like a food stand? She frowned. Food stand. Yes. You know how Mama Nkechi's buka always full? People love her jollof and suya. I can cook small too. Remember when you said my jollof better than hers? She laughed softly. That one na mouth. No, I'm serious, he said eagerly. We can start small. You go handle packaging, I go cook. We go sell to office workers and delivery riders. We'll call it something that fits our story. She raised an eyebrow. Like what? He smiled. Nigerian Naira 500 love. She paused, then laughed. That's ridiculous. Exactly, he said. Ridiculous enough to trend again, but this time for the right reason. They laughed at us because of 500 Nigerian Naira's ring. Let's make them respect 500 Nigerian Naira's love. Tommy stared at him, her lips curling into a smile. It was crazy, but maybe crazy was what Lagos respected. Okay, she said finally. Let's do it. They began with what they had, which wasn't much. Tommy emptied her small savings, 18,000 Nigerian Nairas. Emeka added 10,000 Nigerian Nairas from his last week's delivery jobs. They bought a small gas cooker, a big pot, a second-hand table, and a wooden signboard. Tommy painted the name herself in bold red letters, 500 Nigerian Nairas love, taste the hustle. They set up near a busy junction in Surulere, beside a phone repair kiosk. At first, people just laughed when they saw the sign. Nigerian Naira 500 love? Abi na proposal food. Hope una no go serve fake rice like that ring o. But curiosity soon brought customers. Their menu was simple, jollof rice, suya, and chilled sachet water. Price, 500 Nigerian Nairas flat. Emeka cooked while Tommy served with a bright smile that drew people in. Every plate came with a story, food made from love that Lagos mocked. Days turned into weeks. They worked from morning till late night. Sometimes they sold out, sometimes they barely made enough to buy ingredients for the next day. One rainy afternoon, business was slow. Tommy stood under their small umbrella, cold and tired. Emeka, maybe we should give up, she murmured. People still laugh when they see the sign. He shook his head, stirring the pot. Let them laugh. One day they'll line up here. That day felt far away, but his eyes burned with faith. 2 months later, something unexpected happened. It was a Saturday afternoon. The street was buzzing, and Emeka's jollof aroma filled the air. A man in sunglasses walked by, holding a camera and tasting random street foods. He stopped. What's 500 Nigerian Nairas love? Tommy smiled proudly. It's our food stand. We sell jollof and suya for 500 Nigerian Nairas. It's named after our love story. The man laughed. Interesting name. Tell me the story. So Emeka told him, the proposal, the ring, the mockery. The man listened quietly, then said, I'm Foodie Naija. I run a YouTube channel. Can I record this? They agreed. He filmed them cooking, laughing, serving customers. At the end, he said into the camera, sometimes, the best meals come from the hardest stories. 500 Nigerian Nairas love, this is what real hustle tastes like. 3 days later, the video dropped. Title: The Couple Who Turned Shame into Street Food Gold. It exploded. Over 1 million views in 48 hours. Comments flooded in. Now this is love. From 500 Nigerian Nairas ring to 500 Nigerian Nairas love, poetic. These two deserve all the blessings. News outlets picked it up. People started visiting their stand, taking selfies, tagging them online. The same city that once mocked them now celebrated them. Emeka's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, influencers, even small investors. One message stood out. "Hi, I'm Sola from Taste Hub. We'd love to collaborate, maybe sponsor your first restaurant pop-up." He showed the message to Tommy, his hands trembling. She gasped. "Is this real?" He smiled wide. "Babe, we did it." That weekend, they hosted their first official 500 Nigerian Nairas love pop-up at a small open-air space in Yaba. The crowd was massive. People came from all parts of Lagos just to taste the viral couple's food. Cameras flashed, music played, and the air smelled of jollof, suya, and redemption. As the night ended, Tommy looked at Emeka under the fairy lights and whispered, "You see? We turned laughter into something beautiful." He held her hand. "We're just starting." But in the corner, a man in a fine suit watched them silently, smiling faintly, phone in hand. He was an investor, but not all investors come with good intentions. He sent a quick message to someone. "I found them. The 500 Nigerian Nairas love couple. Let's see if we can buy them out early." The message delivered. A new storm was quietly on the way. They say success in Lagos can come faster than rain. One moment the sky is clear, the next moment, thunder is on your head. For Emeka and Tommy, success came suddenly, beautifully, and dangerously. From mockery to miracle, their story had become a national anthem. But what Lagos gives with one hand, it can also test with the other. Within a month of the 500 Nigerian Nairas love pop-up, their faces were everywhere. Radio shows, online blogs, even morning TV. People called them the couple who turned shame into flavor. Orders started pouring in from offices, weddings, and parties. Foodie Nija's video had turned them into overnight entrepreneurs. They rented a small shop space in Yaba, bright yellow walls, red lettering, 500 Nigerian Nairas love, from ring to recipe. Every day, people lined up outside. Tommy handled the counter, Emeka cooked, and the smell of smoky jollof drifted across the street like music. Sometimes, strangers stopped just to say, "You give us hope. Now to make me believe say love still day." It was everything they had dreamed of. And yet, under all the noise and smiles, something new had started creeping in, pressure. One evening, after closing up, a black Prado Jeep stopped in front of their restaurant. Out stepped a tall man in a blue suit, sleek, confident, smelling of money and power. "Good evening. You're Emeka and Tommy, right?" He introduced himself as Mr. Tunde Ajayi, CEO of a hospitality group that owns several restaurants across Lagos. "I've been watching you," he said, smiling. "Nigerian Naira 500 love has potential. I want to help you scale." Tommy's eyes lit up. "Scale? How do you mean?" "Franchises," he replied. "Across Lagos, maybe even Abuja. I'll invest 10 million Nigerian Nairas for 60% ownership." Emeka froze. 10 million. It sounded like freedom, like everything he'd ever wanted to give Tommy. But 60%? That meant losing control. "We'll think about it," Emeka said cautiously. Mr. Tunde smiled knowingly. "Of course. But opportunities don't wait forever." He handed them his card and drove off, leaving a cloud of perfume and temptation behind. That night, in their small apartment above the restaurant, Tommy was buzzing with excitement. "Emeka, this is our chance. 10 million Nigerian Nairas? We can finally rest small." But Emeka was quiet. "I don't trust it. Why does he want 60%? He didn't build this with us." "But we need capital," she argued. "We can't keep working like this every day. My back aches, your hands are burnt. Emeka, we can't do it alone forever." "I know," he said softly. "But if we sell too early, we might lose what made this special." She looked away, hurt. So you want us to keep suffering until when? The silence between them was heavy. It was the first time they'd ever argued about the future. As weeks passed, more offers came. Influencers wanted to collaborate. Brands wanted to use their love story for ads. Tommy began getting invitations to events, photo shoots, interviews, brand deals. Emeka encouraged her, but quietly, he felt the distance growing. One night, she came home late from a shoot. He had been waiting, tired and worried. "Tommy, you didn't even call." "Emeka, I'm working. We can't both be stuck behind that cooker forever." He sighed, turning away. "It's like the same fame we prayed for is now changing everything." She looked at him, eyes softening. "No, it's not changing us. It's just expanding us." He smiled faintly, but deep down fear lingered, fear of losing her to the same city that once mocked them. One Saturday morning, as Tommy was preparing for another event, Emeka received a message. It was from Mr. Tund. "Final offer, 15 million Nigerian nairas for 60%. We'll handle logistics, branding, everything. You just cook." He stared at the message for a long time. His hands trembled. That kind of money could change everything. Pay debts, upgrade the shop, secure their future. But what would it cost them? That evening, he showed the message to Tommy. Her eyes widened. 15 million? Emeka, we can't ignore this. I know. But I don't trust his type. Maybe you're just scared of success, she snapped. He blinked. What? You think being cautious is wisdom, but sometimes it's just fear. Emeka, we can't stay small forever. The words cut deep. She regretted them instantly, but it was too late. He walked out quietly, saying nothing. Days passed without peace. They worked side by side but barely spoke. The energy that once fueled them had turned cold. One evening, Emeka came downstairs to find the restaurant empty. Tommy's phone was on the counter, buzzing with a message. Dinner tonight at Radisson Blu. 8 p.m. Let's discuss the contract. Tund Ajayi. His heart sank. He didn't want to assume the worst, but he knew Lagos men like Tund. The ones who mixed business with temptation, money with manipulation. He tried to calm himself, but his mind spun with fear and jealousy. At 8 p.m., he stood outside Radisson Blu, watching from across the road. Through the glass windows, he saw Tommy sitting opposite Tund. She looked uncomfortable, fidgeting with her ring. Tund leaned closer, smiling in that confident predator way. Emeka's blood boiled. But before he could step inside, Tommy stood up abruptly. He watched as she slapped a file on the table and walked out. He crossed quickly to meet her outside. She saw him, startled. Emeka? What are you doing here? I should ask you that, he said, his voice low. She sighed, shaking her head. Relax. I went to hear him out, but he wanted more than business. What do you mean? Her eyes glistened with anger. He said if I wanted the deal to go through, I had to make him happy. I left immediately. Emeka felt both relief and rage. He took her hand, squeezing it tight. I'm sorry, babe. I should have trusted you. She smiled faintly. Trust is what kept us from the beginning. Don't lose it now. The next morning, they made a decision. No investors. No shortcuts. They would grow 500 Nigerian nairas love their own way. They began hosting weekly community plates, serving free meals to street kids and low-income workers once a week. They posted the videos online with a simple caption. We started with 500 Nigerian nairas. Now we're giving back 500 Nigerian nairas at a time. The internet loved it. Within months, they gained massive sponsorships, legit ones this time. By their third anniversary, 500 Nigerian nairas love had 3 branches, Yaba, Surulere, and Lekki. They hired staff, opened a training academy for young chefs, and even launched branded jollof packs in supermarkets. The same city that once mocked them now celebrated them as icons of resilience. On a warm Sunday evening, under fairy lights and soft highlife music, they stood before friends and family at their wedding. Emeka wore a cream suit, Tommy, a flowing white dress that glimmered like sunrise. The air smelled of jasmine and grilled suya from their own chefs. When it was time for vows, Emeka smiled and said. 5 years ago, I knelt in a buka with a 500 Nigerian nairas ring. Today I kneel again, not because I'm broke, but because I'm still grateful. He opened a small box and revealed a new diamond ring, elegant, shining. Gasps filled the crowd. Tommy smiled, eyes teary. It's beautiful, she whispered. But I'll still keep the old one. He laughed softly. I was hoping you'd say that. She slipped both rings on the same finger, the cheap one and the diamond. Because in her heart, both carried the same meaning, love that endured. Years later, a signboard stood proudly in Lekki, 500 Nigerian nairas love restaurant chain, where hustle meets heart. Inside, a new couple worked behind the counter, young, hopeful, just like Emeka and Tommy once were. At the far end of the restaurant, framed in gold, hung a photo of that viral proposal from long ago, Emeka on one knee, Tommy crying in a small buka, with laughter all around. Below the photo were words engraved on a plaque. Sometimes, the real diamond is not the ring, but the person who stayed when all you had was 500 Nigerian nairas and a dream. And that's the story of Emeka and Tommy, the couple who turned mockery into magic, and cheap metal into legacy. Because Lagos love way build together, no matter how small it starts, go reign forever. Ring red har.